So you've done the self-help and you've dipped into some personal development, but now you ask the question, now what? What can you do? Well, if you want to escape the apathy, step right this way. So twice a year, I teach a course called Autonomy. It's a 12-week personal development and training course. What people get out of it is multifaceted. There's curriculum, there's exercises, there's camaraderie, you make new friends. There's a whole lot of interesting things. We're going to hear a sample from the course right now, and let's take a look at the value these students are getting.
Another thing that kind of stood out to me was when you said nature rewards action. And I was kind of going through the Ayn Rand lexicon, and I was looking up value. Value is that which one acts to gain and or keep. The concept value is not a primary, it presupposes an answer to the question. Of value to whom and for what? It presupposes an entity capable of acting to achieve a goal in the face of an alternative. Where no alternative exists, no goals and no values are possible. But just the fact that, you know, value has this concept of action along with it, and it's like inaction, you know, there's no value in that. I don't know, am I making sense? Right?
No, it's a good job of expressing yourself, Keegan. So I'll deal with the second part of your observation first. So the value aspect you have to deal with internally and be valuable to yourself, value your time. This is where self-respect, these sort of things, and that's where external exchanges of value can then be had. So I think the quote that you were pertaining to, the quote you referenced is pertaining to like the internal self work in order to then have something that's a low pressure area that like intersects with other people's high pressure area. So they have the problem they have and want to resolve, or the result they want and don't have. That's the high pressure area, and the low pressure area is the value, the solution, the skill set that has yet to be exchanged, where both sides get something that they want more than what they had in the first place, right? And then what was the first part of your observation? Because I didn't write it down.
You mean the Bible verse?
Yeah.
From there is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear.
Right. So there's evidence that that idea has been around for thousands of years. And yet when David Icke came out and said it's fear or love, like he that was his whole thing for like 10 years. Like, you know, your brain can't do two things at the same time. So we scientifically know this today, but ancient wisdom brought it to us that, you know, you have to make these choices. And the choice is, like, as an example, you can't be focused on delivering service to your audience and be in stage fright at the same time, right? So the stage fright is you're going internal, there's these things going on, and you're distracted from serving your audience, and you can't do both at the same time. So by choosing to focus, people can get past like stage fright, right? So there's that, the natural thing that goes on, and then the thing you can do as an educated person to see that and then work through that. So your brain has a single point of focus at any given time with peripheral, subconscious, like things going on with it. But that single point of focus can be brought within the self or brought out in an external way to provide value to other people. And a lot of times when we're not getting the value exchange is because we're doing too much of that stuff internally and not taking action. And so it's those actions, like what's the actions break up the paralysis by analysis, right? Like it goes back to what Nike coined as just do it. It's the ideal thing. Like just put yourself in the action. Even if you don't know how to do the thing, you're going to start learning just by getting into action. Whereas the procrastination state has you, let's examine it from all the angles and let's mitigate all the risks. And it's not about mitigating all the risks. It's about just being able to take steps with a higher degree of success than the average, right? So it comes back to understand the inevitable, understand the numbers game and the ratios, and know for yourself that in these type of activities, it takes me, 10 tries to learn a new thing, but in this other thing, it might take 20, but you have a range of how many failures that you need to learn new things that you've, done your whole life to get to where you're at now. The goal is to go from implicit and doing that ad hoc, on demand, making it up as you go, to saying, oh, I have a set of rules that when I encounter these things I encounter all the time, I have a way to just process them and move them. And then eventually you can systematize and delegate those things.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I'd say, like, for me, I'm definitely that kind of emerald personality type, to where I can
We
fall
should
into
have a
that
club.
paralysis by analysis, for sure.
A lot of those people make it into this course because there's uh, analytical, detail oriented, like we know enough to get in our way so well, because we do open ourselves up to more than just the assumption of the situation or whatever the centralized authorities telling people to do. So it does play into our personality set, that procrastination, over learning, these sort of things, right? But I like to address it like Buckminster Fuller said. It's like, you don't fight forces, use those forces. So if you have a procrastination force inside, instead of trying to push it down, just go downstream with it in a Socratic method type of way, use it to your advantage. I procrastinate, but when I procrastinate, I go do other things that are harder than the thing I'm procrastinating on. And then when I do that harder thing, which is kind of it's like a self-punishment, but I'm also making progress. So let's call it triggering complexity. Then I come back to the thing I procrastinated on, and all of a sudden I want to do it because now it's easy, right? So it's like, I'm not going to fight my procrastination. I'm going to learn to leverage it and be productive on both the upstroke and the downstroke. Whereas procrastination kind of is unlinking the camshaft from the pistons. Or what was the other example besides procrastination? Excuses. You can you can downstream yourself with excuses. You can upstream yourself, so you can question the nature of the philosophy, or you can discuss with yourself the nature of the outcome, and then you can have those dialectics. But the whole thing is, any conversation inside the self that's not self-abusive and bringing in things that aren't factual, any type of questioning is going to start you thinking. And then that's going to get you beyond the assumption. And the assumption is how they get us all from the get-go. There's plenty of brilliant people out there that make all sorts of assumptions every day that take away all their power in life. And these, they're higher gas prices and food prices, all these things. They don't realize they're heavily contributing to the model that put them in that place, which I think is kind of chaotic and unnecessary. But it's the status quo, and it's going to go on until people learn another way and then demonstrate that for other people, as the monkey see, monkey do eventually, right? But it takes a lot of individuals to kind of get that, and then one of them breaks through with something that gets that light of wisdom to other people to spread around. Did that make sense, Keegan?
Yeah, totally.
Having the freedom to be in control of my time and my workload has always been really important to me. So I took Autonomy and I got some high value skills that'll let me work anywhere at any time. I got the skills that'll let me overcome the problems and challenges that come up in my day-to-day life. And I overcame my fear and my self-doubt, so I'm not procrastinating anymore. You can take your scarcity mindset and switch it out for an abundance mindset at getautonomy.info. Check it out today.